but face and eyes were hidden in the overhang of his hood. "What have we here, gene or human?" he asked. When Jessica heard the true banter in his voice, she allowed herself a faint hope. This was the voice of command, the voice that had first shocked them with its intrusion from the night. "Human, I warrant," the man said. Jessica sensed rather than saw the knife hidden in a fold of the man's robe. She permitted herself one bitter regret that she and Paul had no shields. "Do you also speak?" the man asked. Jessica put all the royal arrogance at her command into her manner and voice. Reply was urgent, but she had not heard enough of this man to be certain she had a register on his culture and weaknesses. "Who comes on us like criminals out of the night?" she demanded. The Burnous hooded head showed tension in a sudden twist, then slow relaxation that revealed much. The men had good control. Paul shifted away from his mother to separate them as targets and give each of them a clearer arena of action. The hooded head turned at Paul's movement, opening a wedge of face to moonlight. Jessica saw a sharp nose, one glinting eye, dark, so dark the eye without any white in it. A heavy brown and upturned mustache. "A likely cub," the man said. "If you're fugitives from the Harkonnens, it may be you're welcome among us. What is it, boy?" The possibilities flashed through Paul's mind. A trick? A fact? Immediate decision was needed. "Why should you welcome fugitives?" he demanded. "A child who thinks and speaks like a man," the tall man said. "Well, now, to answer your question, my young Wali, I am one who does not pay the Fai, the water tribute to the Harkonnens. That is why I might welcome a fugitive." He knows who we are, Paul thought. There's concealment in his voice. "I am Stilgar the Fremen," the tall man said. "Does that speed your tongue, boy?" It is the same voice, Paul thought. And he remembered the council with this man seeking the body of a friend slain by the Harkonnens. "I know you, Stilgar," Paul said. "I was with my father in council when you came for the water of your friend. You took away with you my father's man, Duncan Idaho, in exchange of friends." "And Idaho abandoned us to return to his duke," Stilgar said. Jessica heard the shading of disgust in his voice, held herself prepared for attack. The voice from the rocks above them called, "We waste time here still." "This is the Duke's son," Stilgar barked. "He's certainly the one Liet told us to seek. But a child still." "The Duke was a man, and this lad used the thumper," Stilgar said. "That was a brave crossing he made in the path of Shai Hulud." And Jessica heard him excluding her from his thoughts. Had he already passed sentence? "We haven't time for the test," the voice above them protested. "Yet he could be the Lisan al-Gaib," Stilgar said. "He's looking for an omen," Jessica thought. "But the woman," the voice above them said. Jessica readied herself anew. There had been death in that voice. "Yes, the woman," Stilgar said, "and her water." "You know the law," said the voice from the rocks. "Ones who cannot live with the desert." "Be quiet," Stilgar said. "Times change." "Did Liet command this?" asked the voice from the rocks. "You heard the voice of the Sialago, Jameis," Stilgar said. "Why do you press me?" And Jessica thought, Sialago. The clue of the tongue opened wide avenues of understanding. This was the language of Ilm and Fik, and Sialago meant bat, a small flying mammal. Voice of the Sialago, they had received a distrans message to seek Paul and herself. "I but remind you of your duties, friend Stilgar," said the voice above them. "My duty is the strength of the tribe," Stilgar said. "That is my only duty. I need no one to remind me of it. This child man interests me. He is full-fleshed. He has lived on much water. He has lived away from the father-son. He has not the eyes of the Ibad. Yet he does not speak or act like a weakling of the Pans, nor did his father. How can this be?" We cannot stay out here all night arguing, said the voice from the rocks. If a patrol, I will not tell you again, Jameis, to be quiet, Stilgar said. The man above them remained silent. But Jessica heard him moving, crossing by a leap over a defile and working his way down to the basin floor on their left. The voice of the Cialago suggested there'd be value to us in saving you two, Stilgar said. I can see possibility in this strong boy man. He is young and can learn. But what of yourself, woman? He stared at Jessica. I have his voice and pattern registered now, Jessica thought. I could control him with a word, but he's a strong man, worth much more to us unblunted and with full freedom of action. We shall see. I am the mother of this boy, Jessica said. In part, his strength, which you admire, is the product of my training. The strength of a woman can be boundless, Stilgar said. Certain it is, in a reverend mother. Are you a reverend mother? For the moment, Jessica put aside the implications of the question, answered truthfully, No. Are you trained in the ways of the desert? No, but many consider my training valuable. We make our own judgments on value, Stilgar said. Every man has the right to his own judgments, she said. It is well that you see the reason, Stilgar said. We cannot dally here to test you, woman, do you understand? We'd not want your shade to plague us. I will take the boy man, your son, and he shall have my countenance, sanctuary in my tribe. But for you, woman, you understand there is nothing personal in this. It is the rule, istisla, in the general interest. Is that not enough? Paul took a half step forward. What are you talking about? Stilgar flicked a glance across Paul, but kept his attention on Jessica. Unless you've been deep trained from childhood to live here, you could bring destruction onto an entire tribe. It is the law, and we cannot carry useless. Jessica's motion started as a slumping, deceptive feint to the ground. It was the obvious thing for a weak outworlder to do, and the obvious slows an opponent's reactions. It takes an instant to interpret a known thing when that thing is exposed as something unknown. She shifted as she saw his right shoulder drop to bring a weapon within the folds of his robe to bear on her new position. A turn, a slash of her arm, a whirling of mingled robes, and she was against the rocks with the man helpless in front of her. At his mother's first movement, Paul backed 2 steps. As she attacked, he dove for shadow. A bearded man rose up in his path, half-crouched, lunging forward with a weapon in one hand. Paul took the man beneath the sternum with a straight-hand jab, sidestepped and chopped the base of his neck, relieving him of the weapon as he fell. Then Paul was into the shadows, scrambling upward among the rocks, the weapon tucked into his waist sash. He had recognized it in spite of its unfamiliar shape, a projectile weapon. And that said many things about this place, another clue that shields were not used here. They will concentrate on my mother and that Stilgar fellow. She can handle him. I must get to a safe vantage point where I can threaten them and give her time to escape. There came a chorus of sharp spring clicks from the basin. Projectiles whined off the rocks around him. One of them flicked his robe. He squeezed around a corner in the rocks, found himself in a narrow vertical crack, began inching upward, his back against one side, his feet against the other, slowly, as silently as he could. The roar of Stilgar's voice echoed up to him. Get back, you worm-headed lice! She'll break my neck if you come near. A voice out of the basin said, The boy got away still. What are we? Of course he got away, you sand-brained. Easy, woman. Tell them to stop hunting my son, Jessica said. They've stopped, woman. He got away as you intended him to. Great gods below. Why didn't you say you were a weirding woman and a fighter? Tell your men to fall back, Jessica said. Tell them to go out into the basin where I can see them. And you'd better believe that I know how many of them there are. And she thought, this is the delicate moment. But if this man is as sharp-minded as I think him, we have a chance. Paul inched his way upward, found a narrow ledge on which he could rest, and looked down into the basin. Stilgar's voice came up to him. And if I refuse? How can you? Leave be, woman. We mean no harm to you now. Great gods, if you can do this to the strongest of us, you're worth 10 times your weight of water. Now the test of reason, Jessica thought, and she said, You ask after the Lisan al-Gaib. You could be the folk of the legend, he said. But I'll believe that when it's been tested. All I know now is that you came here with that stupid Duke who... woman! I care not if you kill me. He was honorable and brave, but it was stupid to put himself in the way of the Harkonnen fist. Silence. Presently, Jessica said, he had no choice. But we'll not argue it. Now, tell that man of yours behind the bush over there to stop trying to bring his weapon to bear on me. Or I'll rid the universe of you and take him next. You there, Stilgar roared. Do as she says. But still, do as she says, you worm-faced, crawling, sand-brained piece of lizard turd. Do it or I'll help her dismember you. Can't you see the worth of this woman? The man at the bush straightened from his partial concealment, lowered his weapon. He has obeyed, Stilgar said. Now, Jessica said, explain clearly to your people what it is you wish of me. I want no young hothead to make a foolish mistake. When we slip into the villages and towns, we must mask our origin. Blend with the Pan and Graben folk, Stilgar said. We carry no weapons, for the crysknife is sacred. But you, woman, you have the weirding ability of battle. We'd only heard of it, and many doubt it, but one cannot doubt what he sees with his own eyes. You mastered an armed Fremen. This is a weapon no search could expose. There was a stirring in the basin as Stilgar's words sank home. And if I agree to teach you the weirding way, my countenance for you as well as your son. How can we be sure of the truth in your promise? Stilgar's voice lost some of its subtle undertone of reasoning, took on an edge of bitterness. Out here, woman, we carry no paper for contracts. We make no evening promises to be broken at dawn. When a man says a thing, that's the contract. As leader of my people, I've put them in bond to my word. Teach us this weirding way, and you have sanctuary with us as long as you wish. Your water shall mingle with our water. Can you speak for all Fremen? Jessica asked. In time, that may be. But only my brother Liet speaks for all Fremen. Here, I promise only secrecy. My people will not speak of you to any other Sietch. The Harkonnens have returned to Dune in force, and your Duke is dead. It is said that you two died in a mother storm. The hunter does not seek dead game. There's a safety in that, Jessica thought. But these people have good communications, and a message could be sent. I presume there was a reward offered for us, she said. Stilgar remained silent, and she could almost see the thoughts turning over in his head, sensing the shifts of his muscles beneath her hands. Presently, he said, I will say it once more. I've given the tribe's word bond. My people know your worth to us now. What could the Harkonnens give us? Our freedom? Ha! No, you are the Taqwa. That which buys us more than all the spice in the Harkonnen coffers. Then I shall teach you my way of battle, Jessica said, and she sensed the unconscious, ritual intensity of her own words. Now will you release me? So be it, Jessica said. She released her hold on him, stepped aside in full view of the bank in the basin. This is the test Mashed, she thought. But Paul must know about them even if I die for his knowledge.